Good morning, everybody. I know I'm not going to upload this till Thursday, but it is a morning on Saturday, and I am still at the resort. So, thought I'd do it here so y'all can have a nice view of the ocean and see the birds whenever they fly by. But today, my thing I'm going to talk about, the question I'm going to pose to you is, do you still have vision in spite of your circumstances? Do you still have vision in spite of your circumstances? Let me read this to you. This is going to be Mark 5. I'm reading it from the, I believe, New International Version. Okay, so Mark 5:35, and I'm going to go all the way to, I believe, 43. Yes, Mark 35 to 43. And it says, while Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead, they said. Now listen to this. Why bother the teacher anymore? Keep that in your mind. Overnight, what they said, Jesus told him, don't be afraid, just believe. He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jews saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep. But they laughed at him. After he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and disciples who were with him and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, Talitha kum, which means, little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this, they were completely astonished. Okay, at this they were completely astonished, He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this and told them to give her something to eat. Okay. So now that I have read that, I want to read something out of my book of my thoughts. Okay, so let me go into it. Here it's saying, being covered in God, in His strength and power, things will manifest. Clear the mind to hear from on high. No matter what happens in your life, God has you covered. And because He is there, you are able to fulfill your destiny. You must submit to God in spiritual warfare. You will be prosperous even as your soul prospers. Watch what you worship, and power is connected to your faith. All right? So, now that we have read those things, I want to give my story that connects to this. All right. So I read that because it's just so funny when my daughter was out in the world, right? And I didn't know which way to go. And obviously, I had to have a lot of faith, a lot of prayer with God, and trying to figure out how to get her back on track, right? One of the things I visualized, before I go to the visualization, I wanted to say, because I did say, let's stop here. And I wanted to stop here at, let me go back. So hold on. I wanted to stop here where it says, your daughter is dead, they said. Why bother the teacher anymore? I got so much of that. My daughter wasn't even, she was maybe spiritually going through something. She was not emotionally connected, so like dead to us at this moment, but she wasn't dead to me, okay? And people kept saying to me, oh, your daughter is already out there. Now she's doing this, now she's doing that. There's really no turning back. You're going to get so many naysayers, right? Because their faith, first of all, is not connected to the faith that you have with God, right? Their faith may be weak and they have to work on themselves. God gave me that child. My faith had to be strong, okay? God gave me her, and I needed to make this thing happen and believe God for it. So one of the things I when people kept coming at me like that, I kept saying, I just kept looking at them like, that's not my ending. That's not my story. Like that's your story. If that ever should happen to you, I'll pray that you will, turn that story around. But I just didn't believe that God had that for my daughter. And so basically that part where they talk about why bother, right? Why bother? The what does it say? How do I put it? Because I like how I even said it. It says why troubles the master any further, and how this speaks to my daughter and her being doomed in the world, and how I was not afraid and I had to believe, and the Lord did come and bring life back to my daughter. And it is worth troubling the master no matter what people are saying around you. So I just need you to know that, like, if your children or a family member or just even you are going through something that you feel like it's just not worth it, it is worth troubling the master. Okay? Know that. I used to write, I still do write things down a lot. One of the things I wrote down is what it would look like if my daughter was healed. What it will look like in my future. What does my life look like? The way I would want to see it. I visualized it. I wrote it down. Even people say do vision boards, right? They tell you, oh, you should do a vision board. The vision board will help you to be able to look and see. I have done a vision board. I'm still waiting for that one to work. But other vision boards have actually came to pass. So not the one with my daughter, though. I never did a vision board for her. I did a lot of writing and a lot of mental visualizing. And one of the things I visualize, and it's a song. The song is what is the song? Oh gosh, I wish I had the song up. Anyway, the song, it was in a movie, and it was when this woman, it also was in the color purple. If you look at the color purple, and she says, God's trying to tell me something, okay? And then she started going back to the church where her father was preaching, and then she, went in there and decided that, I'm going to give myself back to God. So there's a new one that was out with Tyler Perry where the mom was on drugs, and the husband and his daughter were going to church, and they were praising the Lord, and she came busting in those doors also, and she was sitting here praising God. And every time I listened to that song, and I would look, that song was ministering to me. All right, that song was telling me, and I'm gonna find the song for you. That song was telling me. Let me see if I can do it like this. Tyler Perry's song where the woman comes in singing at the end for her deliverance. Let's see if that works. Sometimes you can't tell Google too much. It said, no, it's so crazy. I'm here, and sometimes this connection is so bad, and then sometimes it's good. I don't know. Yeah, so because every now and then I have to keep going back into to the resort and put it back in. They keep knocking me out. I guess they're like, she gonna be leaving today, so she needs to be getting out of here. Yeah, so I was just listening to that song, and that song ministered to me quite often. I'm looking and paying attention, and then still trying to get this for you. But it ministered to me quite often, and I would just kept visualizing that was going to be my daughter, and she was going to be holding her hands, and she was in the air and praising God and just loving on Jesus, and just knowing where she came from and where God is bringing her, and how he brought and where he brought her from. Okay, so it came back in. Let me say it again to it. Let's see what happens. Tyler Perry's movie where the woman comes in at the end singing from her deliverance to her husband and daughter.
Here is information from Wikipedia.
I guess it was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That's crazy. Because I don't know. I did watch that movie. But I want to know the song. I should have said the song. I did all that and didn't even say the song, which is so crazy. But I really do think that could have been the movie. I should have asked the song. Okay, let's see the Tyler Perry song. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I don't want to hold you forever, right? That doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. The song doesn't seem like it's going to come up for me. I'm going to put it in. I'm actually going to send it as a because now it's telling me other stuff that I'm not even asking about. So yeah. Anyway, I sing this song quite often and I love it. You probably know what song it is, but if you don't, I'm going to definitely upload that song, so look for it. I'll probably be able to put it in a link along with this. If I can do all that, we'll see, because I need to be more savvy with this. But yeah, so doing a vision board and visualizing, and that's what I did. I visualized that my daughter had a healing, and I visualized what that looked like, and I visualized that she was fighting for her life, and I visualized that she knew who God was, because it's how I raised her, is where I made sure she knew where her help came from. And so, people be like, oh, I'm going to let my children have their own, find out who they are when they grow up. No, it's for you to lead them, okay? Prayerfully, you want to lead them correctly. You want to lead them with faith. You want to lead them having some more substance than trying to figure it out all completely on their own in their spiritual life. It's just like you lead them by knowing that they have to have hopefully good nutrition. You want to lead your children. You don't want to. I don't agree with my child has the right to pick out their own religion based on who they are later in life. The funny part about it is my daughter's doing that. So I won't even go there. But, and I'm like, what is it? Raise a child in the way they should go. And when they, you know what I'm trying to say. Raise the child in the way they should go. And when, that I can't say. Why can't I say that? Let me see, because Google is good. And y'all know exactly what I'm saying, but I want to say it right. What in the world? Okay. Raise your child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they will never depart from it. Maybe that's it. Okay, all right, here it is. It says, okay, let me see. What is it? All right, so basically it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, okay, there we go. And when he is old, let's go to here. So let me see how a New International Version says. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. All right. I don't want to make this video this long. But yes, basically that is what it says in the Bible. And that's actually Proverbs. Going here, it says, that's Proverbs 22. And I got that in verse 6. Okay? So, yeah. Because of the fact that if you've put all you can, and when they're leaving by your side and your words, that maybe God's words will still stay within them. And then maybe they will draw it back from that. Too many people have done it. That's why you hear so many beautiful stories. So many stories of, triumph over trials and tribulations, because of these people. Somehow something was placed in their spirit along the way of their growing, and they were able to draw back from it. Okay, so that's what I did with my daughter many times when she was young, and they know me. I've always been a person who listened mostly to gospel music. She's always been that person too. The funny part about it is, even during her stints of running away and all out there in the world, there were times where back then it was tapes. There was times when my tapes was missing out of my car because she got it upstairs because she's listening to the music that I have. She had her favorite songs, and she was trying to find her healing. And so, I knew she was fighting. And that's what kept me going, because I'm going to fight with you, baby. You know what I'm saying? I love my daughter. I love my son, my grandson. And so, I visualized that. And I visualized it to the point where I just saw her in the church raising her hand, just praising God. We were just sitting in church one day, and she's praising God, and she's standing up, and she's hastening to the Lord, and she's giving him everything. And that day did happen. It did happen. Okay. She was in her 20s. All right. She's now 26, but she was in her early 20s, and she came to church with me, right? And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. But then all of a sudden I look and I saw my vision come true. I saw my daughter standing there, hastening to God, just sitting here, raising her hands and crying and purging and letting it all out and trusting God, and just giving it all to him. And I'm like, that made me now cry myself. Now I'm sitting over there crying for, oh God, you just showed me my vision in real life. It came to pass. So these are things that make me remember, that makes me always know that God is so real, so real, so real, so real. The reason why I tell you these things is because I know he can do it for you. So that's always my message. I'm not special. Nothing's extra about me and my life and my daughter's life. If you know you know me. No, that's probably the best way to say it. If you know where you are and who you are, that's me. Because we're all just human beings trying to figure it out. But God got us, right? God got us. So I was very happy with that. I was so happy to see that. One of my biggest things now. And it's so funny because every time I have this thought and prayer, he shows me that he's working. So my grandson, he has a delay in speech. Not so much speech. The boy can talk. But he doesn't communicate well. So he still will point his fingers to what he wants. And you have to keep telling him to use his words, say his sentences. He knows how to speak. If he wants something, he's got to ask. And he's got to ask in full sentences, not one word or two words. And sometimes it frustrates him, but sometimes he does a real good job. Like one time he came upstairs and I heard him practicing. He's so funny. I heard my grandson practicing. He was walking up the stairs saying it. Then he comes in my bedroom. He says, Nani, I want, and he just said the whole sentence, and I jumped up and got it from him. I said, that's what I'm saying, because I heard him practicing. He was going to school one morning, and I was taking his coat off, and as we walking to the class, he's saying, good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? So this is what he's saying. I said, huh? So I'm like looking at him as he walks into class. We walk in and he says, good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? And everybody turned around like, hi, Quadon. Like, and the teacher was like, wow. I said, he just was like literally in the hallway practicing to speak his sentences. And I think what happens, it gets jumbled up in his mind. And so when he's trying to talk, he gets frustrated because he wants to have that conversation. So instead he just doesn't, and he'll just point to you and point to what he wants or whatever. But he speaks with his toys. He has a really extensive vocabulary. Okay. He knows how to speak. He understands, even when he reads, he understands punctuation. He understands many words, and pretty much it seems like he understands their meaning because of how he speaks those words in these sentences in this book, right? So, so he's 4, and he basically is on his way. Every time, I notice that there's a struggle, I start to feel like, Lord, I hope, that we can come through this. And then all of a sudden, he'll come in the room and show me that God is working in him. And that he's sitting here finding out ways to communicate through, verbally communicate. And I'm like, okay. So he'll come in and he'll just start talking for a quick second. I think that when he's naturally not thinking about it, he's able to do it. Otherwise, he feels pressured if it's at the moment. But when he's like, sometimes he'll just turn around and he'll just say something. And he'll be like, oh, okay. But you can't get him to repeat it. Then he's like, because then he starts to second guess himself and think about it. I don't know. I don't get it, but I didn't go to school for it. And we're praying that we find the help that is necessary to get him to verbally communicate to us. He can verbally communicate, just not to people as well. And he's still using like 1 word, 2 word sentences and stuff like that. And when he plays with his toys, he's using full sentences. It's really mind-boggling. But yes, I believe for my grandson, and I'm walking and visualizing in that my grandson is going to be one day not only speaking verbally to others and communicating well, but he's going to be a speaker. He's going to get out and he's going to tell his story, and he's going to be so eloquent, because believe me, the words he used, it's like, I didn't even know you even had that word in your vocabulary. You know how kids are. Kids be like saying stuff that you don't even think that they even know. like how did that come out of you? So yeah, I am visualizing that because I know that God can do it. I believe. I not only have to have, I don't just believe it. The miracles have been shown in my life. Draw it back to even the smallest of miracles that has been drawn to your life. Draw it back to things that God has came through for you, because I know He has. I know if you, even if it's hard for you to think, what did God do for me? Are you breathing today? Really? Like, I'm breathing. I mean, there was times where I could never even begin to think that I can come and get an oceanfront room view, because money just was never right. And I'm not saying like I'm on point, but what I'm saying is that just to say, oh, I have 3 days off, let me go. Like, I know God's miracles. I know God's blessings. And so I want to, first of all, encourage you, to tell you to visualize your life, to tell you that vision does work, like believing in God does work, and just keep moving in God's fashion, because praying to Him, understanding that He's going to come through for you. Excuse me. Believing that He's going to come through for you, that you're no different or no less special than the next person. Okay, it's so true. I mean, it's just, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So, going back, just want to say that I thank y'all for listening. First of all, to my words, and I pray that the things that I said have ministered to your spirit, as it always ministers to mine. The funny part about it is when I speak to you, I'm still speaking to me. I'm still trying to keep myself encouraged. And so I do this also because it encourages me as well, right? I encourage others, and I'm being encouraged in the process. Okay, so that's what, one of the things he said, get out and be of service and help others, because it actually helps you, and it's the biggest truth. You don't think about your problems as much, but you see it differently. When I was out helping, feeding the hungry and, the community and their stories and speaking to them, like they would minister to me all the time, because, it doesn't matter what your circumstance is, you still have a gift in you that you can minister to people who are even helping you. So, it's just been a blessing. My life and God in it has been a true blessing. It's been a true blessing. And I want that for everybody. Never feel it's too much to trouble the master. Okay? Trouble him so that you can get your blessing. All right? What they say, why trouble the master? Because you're worth it. All right? And I do want to stop right there. And so, because I am stopping right there, I think, let me see if I want to say one more thing, because I just want to go to the end. I think I'm pretty much done. Yeah. So, I am hoping that you have a blessed one. And till next time, know that have a vision in spite of your circumstance. Love you all. And have a blessed one. Enjoy the view. And be blessed. Bye-bye.